chat, we ride or die. Blue, blanc, rouge, bleed the colors with pride. Habs Hump Day! Habs Hump Day! Habs Hump Day! Echoes rise from the forum floor. Bell Center shakes with a thunderous roar. Past and present, side by side. The torch burns on, Canadiens' pride. Habs Hump Day! Habs Hump Day! Habs Hump Day!
Hey, welcome back to the second time the Habs Hump Day with the hockey coach, Coach Franchi, directly for the beautiful country of the jungle and Thailand on Amazing Great Wednesday night, September 10, 2025. Hopefully an amazing great day, ready to talk about the Montreal Canadiens tonight. We have a full episode tonight with, of course, the co-host of the Wednesday night, Marko and we have a special guest tonight. Meanwhile, tonight we're going to talk also about the fun news around the NHL, and I can't wait to have Marko with me. Don't forget, tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m., I'm going to be back with another show at the Montreal Canadiens. Friday night, the fun Friday night, another time for before the beginning of the season. We're getting there about approximately 27 days, 26 days before the season starts. We welcome everybody. Don't forget, please, to click on the like if you don't mind. That'd be great. That's the only thing we ask you. Punch and trans when you go to the Hockey Nation. And don't forget to sharing this, the channel, to all the people you know on the social media. We need approximately 245 before we hit the magic at 10,000. We try to get this. You can helping us. That'd be great. Here we go. We have a few people knock the door. Moderator Luciano is in the house. Tony Reardon, he is in the house tonight. The pitcher of the Montreal Canadiens and the Montreal Expos. No, just kidding. Julian Wiseman with LDP, PLW. Go with Kiki Hernandez. Tonight, a home run. We'll see what's happening there if it's happened. RJ Calabro with all the news. We have a lot of news today around the NHL. Randy Rockman is in the house. Roy from Bangkok. Ozio Murphy is in the house. We apologize for a couple of minutes late. We have to set up something. I had put a new TV on the wall last night, and have two LED power and about 10 things to plug together. So now I'm freaking out. Something could happen with the power. one place, I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at the same place. So and we are in Thailand. So what could happen here? We don't know. And then on my other corner, I have 4 of them. So we'll see. A little bit nervous about that, but hopefully it's going to be good for the next 2 hours. Until then, my friend, we have to welcome back the best of the Wednesday night with me. Love to work with him, but I like the way he brings some knowledge about hockey. Back from Hawkesbury, ready to talk about the Montreal Canadiens, and Mr. Marko Larabi is in the house tonight.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy Hump Day. Crazy day. If you follow social media, we're not going to get into any of that, but nice to be with everybody here. First day of rookie camp, Coach. First day of rookie camp. It's finally here. What a long summer, Coach. Like, holy geez. August seemed to just crawl by from a hockey perspective. Beautiful weather. Like, don't get me wrong. We love summer and all that, but man, so slow for hockey news. And, today it's trickling in. We see players attacking the bike, really getting on the bike and like assaulting the bike aggressively. So I'll be curious to see kind of what we learn about kind of what happened today in the gym and everything else. But the players are there, Coach. So it's really good news. Really excited. Should be a fun show tonight, guys. We're going to again continue to give you previews about what we're going to do on Habs Hump Day. It's a little bit of a different concept than we did last year. So today we'll be obviously covering, kind of news and different topics, but we'll also continue to, as we get set here and move towards the season, we'll continue to tease and show you kind of what we're going to be covering here every Wednesday. So really excited to share with everyone, Coach.
Yeah, you're right about that, and I can wait to sharing with all the contents, the new concept of the program we're going to do every Wednesday night. Hey guys, this is a lot of work for Marco to do that, so thanks again to do that. Look, Leverson look like he is back home. Doesn't have to watch the dog anymore for his cousin, whatever it is. So look, welcome back, LDP. We have Randy Walkman and Triple W. And then Ron with King's moderator also. Thanks everybody. Don't forget, please, to click on the like we do at the beginning of the show, Mr. Marco. We do the what?
We do the Habs headlines, Coach. The big
Here we go.
headlines.
And you will always start the number one. With that, I'll let you do it.
MSL, Martin Saint-Louis, Habs, Braveheart. So we had Martin Saint-Louis here with the blue face paint like William Wallace from Braveheart. Freedom! Just, hyping all the guys up. I just had inspiration to kind of put this together, Coach. Like, I don't know if you saw, they released another little mini documentary, the last couple of days with Martin Saint-Louis giving a pump-up speech to all the rookies 1 year ago today, like with the rookies coming in for the rookie camp. And what a great speech, talking about how, if I was to throw a ball and only one of you could make the team, you have to remember that, there's a difference between competition and discipline. Competition is only going to be about 1 or 2% of when, of how you're going to be successful, because you're in competition when you're on the ice or you're in the gym with other guys. But the rest of the time, when you're not competing and when the lights are not on you, it's all about discipline. And my favorite line in that thing, Coach, was he was saying, it's not about who is the most talented or has the most skills right now. It's about who's better at getting better. Man, like Martin Saint-Louis he never stops dropping pearls of wisdom, pearls of absolute motivation, philosophies, like a little Buddha, right? Like a little hockey Buddha. But he's, Coach, we've talked about it. We know Nick Suzuki's the captain. We know there's great leaders on that team, but you still at this point have no doubt that the true, leader, of the Montreal Canadiens is Martin Saint-Louis. And really excited. Like sometimes, Coach, like I know sometimes people here, they tease me for being, conservative and maybe a little too critical, but sometimes you just have to kind of stop and pinch yourself about how exciting it is right now, guys. Like before the season starts, have you felt this excited for the start of a season? You have Martin Saint-Louis. He was voted, nominated for Coach of the Year. People are starting to talk about Kent Hughes as GM of the Year. Daily Faceoff had a post on X, with Kent Hughes' picture as maybe the best GM in the league. So, guys, we have Demidov. Like, there's just so many things to be excited. But I just wanted to kind of have something here about Martin Saint-Louis, the Scottish, the William Wallace, the Braveheart of the Montreal Canadiens.
Well said, Marco. I think I'm going to talk for the rest of the people in the chat, if you don't mind. I think that's the first time you are really positive about the Montreal Canadiens for the upcoming season with excitement, Marco.
Come on. No, that's not true. No, I mean, no.
No,
So
what
I
I'm
think
trying to, you always try to be cautious for the Montreal Canadiens. I think tonight you pick up a little bit more you heard more about the speechless. I think you're right. I think Martin said we bring some kind of the vibes and refreshing around the Montreal Canadiens, but the way he talk about different things, and if you want to have a really good motivator, but I think Martin Saint-Louis is the right guy to do that, and I think he's right. I think for me, I always have I was talking about the people that when I was coaching, I always said, talk about the word discipline, but I always said, it's when you come here and you pop the at the gym and you do all your weight and everything, you push each other and everything, but that's great and I love it. But I don't know, when nobody watch you at 5 a.m., what do you do? Or at 6 a.m., what do you do? That's what the discipline start right there. It's when nobody watch you. And if you have a great work ethic, that would make the difference right there. So I really, every speech about coach me, any sport, I run after that. I'm just like vibe about those kind of speechless. Yeah, many coach in football, the NCAA football, basketball. It was really good about that. And anyhow, so Martin St-Louis is ready for the upcoming season. It's good to hear like a kid. Think about this, Marco, like if you're 18, 19 years old and you sit in this locker room, you look left and right, you hear like Martin St-Louis, Hall of Fame, and won the Stanley Cup. He show up, and he's supposed to be your coach in the next couple of years. And he just push you at you want to do everything for that man, for the coach, and that's what is Martin St-Louis. So the player buy it, they're all in, and you can see the reflect of that, Marco, in September and in August and July, and Brussels, where everybody is there. That kind of chemistry, and we have to give credit also for me, Nick Suzuki. I think Nick Suzuki is maybe quiet. We don't see too much of the highlights about him, but I think this is where he make another difference with Martin St-Louis. By the way, home run for the Houston Astros happening right there.
What a comeback by the Blue Jays last. What a crazy comeback by the Blue Jays. By the way, Coach, I think everybody in the chat would love to see you put on some blue paint, run around the jungle, like catch some like live hogs or something, whatever animals are out there. So it would be cool to see you with some warrior blue paint on your face and do some videos in the jungle, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But this morning I walk in the kitchen and I look on the I look on the floor. Every time I go to the kitchen in the morning when it's dark, I'm always careful. I open the door and I wait a little bit. We'll never know who could be in the kitchen. But I walk inside the kitchen, turn on the lights, and I see on the floor. So this is a roach. Like the roach is about 3 inches. It's like a black. I see some bugs I never see in my life. Like I never see. I have a couple of Kiko and all behind me.
Didn't you have to pay a lot of money before to get bugs to eat? Now they're just right in your kitchen for free. That's good.
They are everywhere, every time. Like I never see a mosquito in Thailand when I was in Pattaya. Now I see every 2 seconds. Anyhow, let's go with mine. It would be easy for mine. For me, is a turning point, and that's bring for me now. This season, the turning point and called the rebuild for the Montreal Canadiens. I said last week this should be the end for the Montreal. And Marco talk all the time, and I always talk about this, the roster construction. And this was the next move right there. We saw, for me, we saw Ken Hughes did it this summer. He had a couple of pieces of the puzzle we missing. And it's not done yet. He's still concerned about that. But the turning point for me, to remember for me, the next couple of years going to be this season for the month, this summer. I think that's what changed everything. They accumulate assets for a couple of years, Marco, on the picks, and they make a lot of trade for that asset, and they pay off when they trade 2 first-round picks to get Dobson. Then, yes, Marc Bergevin got Mayu, but Montreal developed him, and they trade him for Zachary Bodzik. We still have more, but until the next move, I think this, for me, the turning point for the Montreal Canadiens for the rebuild under those new management and under those young players. And we're just the beginning, but it's go fast, Marco. You're going to see that maybe a couple of years that, we're already there. So we will be done with that. So we have to wait and appreciate what are going to happening for the next couple of years for the Montreal Canadiens. But for me, this is the turning point for the Montreal.
100%, Coach. And we talked about it here, like you said, arguably the asset collection part, breaking everything down, collecting assets. It's kind of, I won't say it's easy. Like you can still make mistakes and you could still, Hughes did a great job collecting all those assets. But this is the hardest part. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is exactly where you're starting to cash in your chips and really kind of piecing it all together. And you're right. Like this summer, I love the Dobson move. I love Bodzik too. Again, I have my questions as to whether they did use Mayu to go get another winger. So I like Bodzik. But let's hope they have enough assets to go get that center. But you're right, Coach. Like this season here, I think we're going to see the team hit another level, and so it's really exciting. And I think we're all super hyped to see, especially the rookie showcase this weekend, Coach. Some actual games. It's going to be so fun.
Absolutely right. We want to welcome a few people here. N26 with A2. And then we have Bobby in the house. Guy in the house. We did not mention your name. I apologize. But I just want to say thanks so much to join us tonight on the special evening of the Hump Day with Marco Larabi. And of course, don't forget, please, to click on the likes. We have a special guest, Marco, tonight. And I think you take a time to do it to find him. Honestly, I want to give credit for Marco for that one. So, Marco, I would like to do the presentation of the new guest we got for the special night.
Yeah, let's see who we got here, Coach. Let's see who we got. I'm
Here we go.
curious. Who could it be? Who could it be? Oh, and our top in the house.
Way. Hello, Coach. Hello, Marco. Hello, Hockey Nation.
Mr. Narta, welcome back in the family of the Hockey Nation. It was a pleasure for me to see you tonight. And we talked a little bit a couple of days ago together, but you know, this is where we dream and we think if it's ever going to happen tonight, a night like we welcome you back, and that's happening right now. So really happy to welcome you with the Hockey Nation and everybody, and glad to work again with you for another year at the hockey. Mr. Narta will be with us every Sunday night for the red light for that one. Maybe we're going to get Andre Rescom maybe one night, Mr. Narta, but we have to wait that.
Let's hope not.
Marco?
Nothing against Resico, but you know what?
No, I think that'd be a great guest.
Oh yeah, I think you would.
Yeah.
Just not in that context in particular. I just you know, I wanted to take a moment really. As many of you already know, it's been a tough go lately for myself and my family over the, you know, since probably the beginning of April, I think it was, you know, with what happened to my dad and my mom also being ill. And I wanted to sort of express my, you know, my heartfelt thanks to everyone here at Hockey Nation. In particular, you know, the many of you that emailed me from time to time, and some of you text me. You know, Marko and Coach have been constantly asking, and Luciano keeps texting me almost on a daily basis, and everybody else that sent me emails. It's been very encouraging to have that. It's a tough time, and we're still going through it. It's not that we're out of the woods, but I really appreciate the support from this community, which is a reflection of what you've built here, Coach. And it really brought not just myself but my family a great deal of comfort. You know, just hearing that you guys were thinking of us and keeping us in your prayers. You know, sending words of encouragement. It really meant more than I can say here tonight. I'm looking forward to coming back. Hopefully, you know, things will continue to improve, but we never know. Like, we all go through challenges in our life. But sometimes when you have this kind of support that I'm so appreciative of, it helps to get through tough times like this, and I'm deeply grateful and thankful to all of you.
Well, let me say on behalf of the community, Entertap, like, you know, you're such a generous, kind, wise guy, you know, like, so all the love, you know, and, you know, we can feel what, you know, we see the kind of guy that you are, and that's why people love you, because, you know, you're such a kind soul. People can see that. So everybody, you know, for sure have been thinking, we're trying to give you some space too, like, not try to be pushy or get into your face, give you your space with your family. So listen, we're thrilled to have you back. We were just talking about how exciting of a time, you know, it is to be a Habs fan, and, you know, like, so for all of us, like, we're just, you know, it's even more exciting having you around to share it with. Just makes it all the better. So we're super excited to have you. So, you know, I have one question for you though, bro. Like, you know, because we haven't even really, you know, been able to get you on the record or get your thoughts. Like, you know, we kind of lost, you know, going into the playoffs and everything. So yeah, I don't want to put you on the spot, right? But I'd love to just get your thoughts on, like just an overview, like 2 minutes, like what's it been like, living, being a fan, like you haven't had to come on here and do hot takes every day, almost every week, so going back to last year, Habs making the playoffs, going through the playoffs this summer, like how does it feel? Like, tell us from your point of view as a fan, what's it been like, watching Montreal? Because we were here, for a couple of years on our top, like, wondering how long is it going to take for Montreal to reach that next step? And here they are. Like, so love to hear kind of how did you experience it? Was it as magical for you making them the playoffs? Like, give us all the details. Give us how you lived that whole experience.
Well, absolutely. I mean, and thanks for putting me on the hot stove right away on the hot seat. But yeah, you know what? It is magical because we're seeing it from being built from the ground up, right? And we're seeing the right things being put in place. We're seeing, I think, how Jeff Molson really. A lot of times we credit the general managers, the coaches, the players, but we got to give some kudos also to Jeff Molson, who decided to go after the general managers that we have, and they're doing a fantastic job, and they know how to rebuild, they know how to communicate, and they built a team around themselves that they can trust and throw things at each other and bounce ideas off of each other, as we sometimes see in the documentaries. But of course, you take that sort of a bit with a grain of salt because there's a camera there. But I'm sure it's like that also behind closed doors. And when that communication is there, you start seeing positive things being built. Like I've been fortunate enough. You're younger, Marco, but Coach and I have seen Montreal go through the '70s, and to be honest, it was almost greedy in the sense that you expected Montreal to win the cup just about every year. They were that stacked, and yes, the NHL was different. But then when you see them go through dry spells, I know they won two more cups in the '80 and then '93 as well. Um, and you see them just going down the tubes slowly but surely. You knew at some point that they would have to break it down to the grassroots and rebuild, and that's what they've done so far. And the job isn't finished, but I like all the indicators. I like what they've been doing. They've been building up the assets. They're managing them properly so far, and there's still more on the horizon coming. So absolutely, it's an exciting time, and I loved watching them against Washington in the playoffs. You knew they were going to be in tough, but you know what? I give them full credit for the fact that uh, they stood up to them as well and played some very good hockey, exciting hockey. And I think this year will be just as exciting, provided we can stay healthy, right?
That's always the key. And Entertop, you're right. Like that Washington series, it was closer than people give it credit for, right? Like,
Yeah,
yes, it was only
yeah,
5 games, but all the games were pretty close. And I think the one game in Montreal, the first game, that the one that they won in Montreal, the NHL Network on YouTube, like they actually had that as one of the best. They had it as the best game of the first round, and they have it on YouTube. You can watch like almost all of it for free on YouTube. And I think I've watched it 3 times this summer, to be honest, because it's such an electric game. They played so well. So I'm glad to, hopefully, in those dark times in our tap, at least you had if you could sneak away and watch a little bit of that hockey, it must have been good juice, good for the soul to see some playoff hockey with some red, white, and blue in there. So, we're
yeah,
again really
definitely.
super excited to have
It
you
was
back.
it was a good break in terms of listening into you guys on a pretty much daily basis, but through the playoffs as well. And there were very few nights I didn't get a chance to listen to you guys, and if I missed it, I would try to listen the next day. So I think I kept up
Nice.
with most of the stuff.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
That's
We
awesome.
have few people knock the door. Everybody tell you, Mr. Natap, welcome, and they are very happy to see that.
Thank you.
And someone said that in the chat, said Natap looked like 10 years younger. It's not true, honestly. I think it was Triple W or someone else. It's not he is younger. It's me and Marco. We are older
Look
for 10
older.
years. We look like. So that's the difference between your statement and what we look like. But Marco look younger because he cut like he shaved his. Here we go. So that's the reason he looked good about that. But welcome, Mr. Tab. Thanks to be with us.
Thank
We
you.
are very appreciated. And
Great
I
to be
know
back.
other people will be already happy. Then Ogilvy, Mr. Dixon is in the house. And Makidat, say hi to all of us. Zeb Lecab, N26 at Triple W. We mentioned this earlier. Billy knocked the door, I believe. And we have Maurice Robillard back at home and now for a trip in Bangkok is in the house. If I missed some of you guys, I apologize. Don't forget to flow the likes. That'd be appreciated if you don't mind. Marco, we're going to go to the NHL news and then we're going to come back to the segment of what you want to talk about. Is that okay with you?
Absolutely. Go for it.
All right, let's go to the NHL news we got here. I don't know if that's... I don't know what I have here. Here we go. That surprised me.
Transition. Very good transition.
We have a new signature for the San Jose Sharks. The second overall pick, Michael Misa, get his entry-level contract. Some people ask why do he sign only today? Why he did not sign before that? I think you have some kind of waiting to see if he's going to go play in NCAA, whatever. And look like now he's going to be with the San Jose Sharks. And that said, also the contract limit of the San Jose, I think now they hit the 50 with that contract. I did not look this morning, but I think that's what happened. So how you feel about that signature, Mr. Marco?
Yeah, well, I think the Carey Price deal, and them getting rid of that contract, they were waiting to, like you said, they're right up against it in terms of total contract. So Michael Misa, coach, I know at the beginning of the last year, you were dreaming that Michael Misa would be maybe
he was my player for a year.
He was your guy. He was your guy. I remember. And who can blame you? Like, man, Michael Misa is going to be quite the player. And he would look pretty amazing in a Habs uniform. But hey, it is what it is. But no, I think this is really good news. It's a direct result of San Jose being able to get rid of that contract and getting Carey Price. So as most things, we always make any move in the NHL about the Habs. So again, this is all about the Habs. They were able to sign Michael Misa because of Carey Price. So really good for them. Very excited to see kind of what's going to happen with him. What an exciting young roster San Jose is going to have enter tap. Like, oh my God, like in a couple of years, these guys are going to be so fun to watch. So fun.
Yeah, they definitely have the talent. I mean, Anaheim's another team to look forward to coming out of this. I think, Chicago's building at a slightly slower pace in my view, but coach, I know you've been doing a lot of articles with Chicago and digging a little bit deeper, and you're seeing more encouraging signs with them as well. So, what really amazes me, guys, is the fact that, I mean, every year, obviously, rookies come along and, impress in the league and have great careers, as we know. But it seems that recently, in the last 2-3 years, it's the volume of players that are coming up and just the skill level that they're bringing forth. And each one is slightly different than the other. They specialize in different parts of the game, and it's exciting, and it's good news for the NHL in general, because it's a sport where we're seeing the salary cap going up every year, and there's reasons for that, right? It's being marketed properly, and when you have the talent that can supplement that, the future looks good for the NHL.
You're right. And then I think San Jose is about the defense, always something you have to work. I think if they return to pick up next year, the top three, they're going to have a great defenseman for sure. And imagine McKenna go with them.
Man, it's all about time. It's all about timing, eh, guys? Like, Montreal, again, listen, we're happy with the guys that they got in the draft and everything, but man, it's all about timing sometimes when you finish in the bottom five, and it's a little bit of Russian roulette. But man, San Jose, they definitely picked up some beauties here as they've been retooling and eating up some of these assets. So yeah, it's going to be a mean looking roster. Really, really good.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right about that. Talking about Chicago, guys, I think one thing when you study the team, right? You're looking about what they do well, what they don't do well, everything. I don't know what he look like. What's going to be happen to Nick Lardis, example. But they have a couple of players they select a second round, or third round example, and they could be a really turnover. At least they develop. They have a young kids called Roman Kenserov or Kensenazov Nav, and he's only 5'9", 5'10". He remind me a lot the way he's small, Pavel Bure, but. That's going to be another long shot for them if they get join them. But the problem is only 5'9", and the team is small already on the forward. But Nazar more on the forward. If you have Sasha Boisvert, we don't see yet with that. They have Vanikar, they have Specially, they have Nestrazil, and then you have the defenseman guys. So I think Sam Renzel is going to be a great defenseman at long term in there.
Yeah.
They have Leshinov and they have Vlasic. They became a great one. They have the big 6'8" Crevier on the top pairing of the third pairing for them. Korchinski, this really, the Korchinski is very interesting. He's a 7 overall pick by the Chicago Blackhawks, but he reminds me a lot of Justin Barron when you study a little bit more his clips. But look, Chicago's going to be good. I think you're right in our tap. One more year before they're really nice to see that. There's Spencer Knight they got. But it's going to be the new wave, right? The Chicago and then Utah. You have and now the Anaheim and then the San Jose. On the Western Conference, going to be the new team. Talking about St. Louis, in our tap, they signed today Justin Carbonneau, an entry-level contract, and they signed Nikita, whatever his last name is, in our tap. He's a 7-round pick in 2023, so we're not going to make too much stuff. But Justin Carbonneau is a really interesting signature. I think, is it 19? I think the Blues was 19 at during the last NHL draft. But the Blues is to see Carbonneau a little bit late in the draft was a little bit surprise for me. And good for him. He got his entry-level contract. But any comments you want to bring on the Blues, Mr. Nartap?
Coach, the fact that I kind of like the way they sort of retooled on the go. Like they didn't break things down. They realized that they had some good talent on the team and still do. And they've made some good moves to try to get some solid defensemen, and picking up the deal with Montreal with Bolduc, and that I thought was a good move for both teams. They hated giving up Bolduc, but they knew they were getting a solid right-handed defenseman that has size and can shoot the puck and can be aggressive in Mayu. So I like the direction that they're trending. They look like a team that will definitely. I think they could be a surprise. Some people are saying, nah, they're not going to make the playoffs this year. I think that they can squeeze in there, and you saw how they were playing last year in the playoffs. Nobody wanted to play them right off the bat.
They're the hottest team.
Yeah, and the size. They have great size. A solid team that plays well together. So they're, again, another team with a solid future.
One thing, Coach, before we move on Justin Carbonneau, I don't know if anybody who watched that mini documentary that they released yesterday, the part where they were talking about debating whether they were going to trade the 2 first-round picks, and they were talking about Zurofsky, and they're like, I think they were talking about Justin Carbonneau. That's just like they hide the mouth to see who they were talking about. But if you read between the lines, I'm wondering if they were debating, okay, so if we trade these 2 first-round picks, maybe we get Zurofsky, and then Gordon's like, and then, so really we're deciding, okay, do we want like a top 6 right-hand shot guy? So I think Montreal was debating whether they were to pick Justin Carbonneau. Obviously, we know that they traded the 2 first-round picks, and it was a really great segment about, how high they thought about Zurofsky and how excited they were on the second day to be able to move up and pick him in the beginning of the second round. But I'm wondering, guys, if the scouting staff really, had Justin Calbano in the mix for them to pick. But I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, we have to wait. By the way, we're going to talk about the subject, but we heard like Montreal, who he was targeting at the NHL Draft 2025. We was not wrong, Marco, about that player, by the way. Everybody talk about Kaprizov, guys, in the chat, so you come at the right time because today he refused only $126 million. He said that's not good enough.
That's it.
And that changed a lot of things here, and that's what we need to a little bit more to talk about this. So let's start with Marco about this. So how you feel it? How you think about that situation with the Wild and the outcome of that?
Well, I'll just say it's a bit of a coincidence because I refused the same offer 2 weeks ago from a different job that they offered me. I didn't think they were valuing me enough, so I'm still waiting for a better offer. So I can understand Kaprizov here, like waiting to just for the right value. Man, guys, like this is crazy. Like this would have made him. It would have been the biggest AAV in NHL history, the biggest total amount in NHL history. So huge waves that this is sending across the NHL. Coach, you've been pretty vocal that you think McDavid is also kind of waiting to see how this shakes out. And that might be true. I think there's a lot of factors going into the McDavid conversation at Edmonton. Like that's a whole other conversation. But what does this mean for Kaprizov and for the Minnesota Wild? I think we had High Mark in our Discord that we were chatting about it this afternoon. And, does this force the Minnesota Wild to maybe entertain the possibility of trading Kaprizov? Like, dear God, we're talking about like a top 5, a contender for the Hart Trophy, guys, every year kind of player. Like this is franchise altering stuff, guys. So if Minnesota, I hear people in the chat are asking, does this mean that he just doesn't like the money? Like he just doesn't want the term, or is he wanting to kind of go somewhere else? Listen, we can speculate what that means. Nobody really knows for sure, but if you're looking at this from the perspective of the Minnesota Wild, you have to, similar to what Colorado and Carolina had to do with Rantanen last year. Like you can't just let an asset like this walk away. Like Toronto was lucky to get anything from Marner, after they didn't sign him right last year. They ended up getting Roy, and so they got something for him. But you can't let a guy like this walk away for free. So this is setting absolute, kind of tremors all across the NHL, Coach. And again, for us as fans, these numbers are just mind-boggling, right? But we're still not, it's our eyes are not used to seeing these numbers anymore because the cap's been frozen for so long that we're not used to seeing these crazy numbers. But we're going to have to start getting used to it. We're going to see more and more players. I know, Coach, you like just a couple of weeks ago, you're like, no, 12 million maximum for Kaprizov.
Oh, no, it was it was Sportsology. It was
okay.
Sportsology.
Yeah.
Me, I said at the beginning it was 15, 14, 15. And then he told me 12. I said, oh, maybe. But my first reaction was about 14, 15 for Kaprizov, about that.
So JB and I, were like, whoa, I think he's going to be way over 15. So this is what we're seeing. Entertap, like when you see these numbers, like it's crazy, right? Like, but listen, it's time for the NHL players to get paid. Like a lot of people look at it and they're like, oh, these players are greedy, but this is revenue sharing. Like, why shouldn't the players get the money, right? But what do you think this means for the Wild, Entertap? Like, imagine what kind of hold this would put into the program for the Minnesota Wild. Like, holy geez.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing here is Kaprizov really knows that he's got him over a barrel, and I don't know what Minnesota can do or the money that they're going to have to in order to keep him. When you have an elite player, it's like we saw the situation, as you mentioned, Marco, with Marner and how it unfolded. If you don't get it settled, it becomes a distraction all year long for the team. And it's a team that is banking on the fact that they can get themselves into the playoffs comfortably. Whether they do or not, that depends on how things unfold for some players that are on there. But how do you not pay him that? Like if he's an elite player, if you truly believe that he's a top 5, 6 in the league, how do you not pay him that? Now the only thing I can see here is maybe Kaprizov. It maybe it's not so much the money, and I could be wrong on this. Maybe it's the fact that it's the term, right? And maybe he wants to cash in twice. He's hoping maybe to get a 3, 4 year big deal with Minnesota, and then cash in again after those 4 years, and knowing that the cap is going to be increasing over the next few years. So it could be sort of a power play on his agent's behalf to maximize what he's going to be making.
Yeah, you're right.
If you're Minnesota, you can't let this guy go. At least
Yeah,
not
and
without
then
getting a king's ransom. And what power do they have, Marco? Like if you try to
you're
trade
right.
him, let's say tomorrow, teams
You're
know,
gonna
hey,
lose.
let him go to the end of the year, and then we'll just
There's,
buy him out without losing any assets.
there's no way you can ever win a trade when you're trading
No,
that good of a player. They're not going to win it. And just to address this is something I see all the time. Look at Fortune. The more money they make, the more costs for us to see them. That's not necessarily true. Like you like the owners are just going to keep the money. Look, it's not like like the money is the money. Like they're going to raise the prices no matter what. We see that in everything,
yeah.
food, gas. Like this is just so I don't buy that. I don't blame the players for getting their slice of the pie. I don't think that's what affects the ticket prices. Anyways, that's a whole other conversation. But I'm with you, Under Tap. Like that's going to be a new trend. Like a lot of like we're hearing that a lot. Like going back to McDavid, players and Lane Hudson. That's another kind of one. We're maybe
Yeah.
going to see players take shorter terms because they know that the percentage of the cap is going to look terrible if they take like a certain number now. So they don't want to look like idiots, and they're going to wait until the cap goes up so that they can, like you said, pass go on the monopoly board more than once, and not make their AAV look like ridiculous compared to their teammates that are signing up after, right?
The
Yeah,
only
right.
difference, Marco and Coach, is the fact that if you compare the McDavid and Kaprizov situations, at least here publicly, we know what Kaprizov was offered and for how long. With McDavid, from my knowledge, there hasn't been anything put out there yet. So he's playing. It's a different situation there. I think with McDavid, he's waiting to see. Let's see what the team can do first in terms of augmenting what we're lacking. And if that's the case, I think he wants to stay there. I think there's no debate about that. And he'll sign for a long term deal. But I think he wants to see, will management step up and make this team a little bit better?
For sure,
You're
man.
right
Like it's
for McDavid. By the way, it's a winning game. I think I have two reasons behind that. The NHLPA, they talk each other. That's the new one. Is it Mike Walsh? I think it's Mike Walsh, his name.
Yeah, yes,
And
yes.
I think they talk with the players. Say, look, wait, what's going to happen? The first one to get more money, we're going to go from that area. And I think McDavid is two things. McDavid is wait for what happening with Kaprizov, and then he will wait until next season. What's going to happen with Edmonton Oilers, the roster and everything, the management direction, and then he's going to take a decision. After that, they're going to trade McDavid if he have to go, and we'll see what it would be. But if Kaprizov get 15, 16, whatever it is, and McDavid is going to get more after that, for sure. And that
Yeah.
will increasing the money around the NHL. The team have to deal with that. It's approximately, someone put in the chat, 17%, I believe, for Kaprizov. That's a lot on the salary cap if you think to control that. So I don't know if that's the right things, but the next 3 years, the contract, like N26 said, it will go to, like I did my projection today on my Chicago Blackhawks, 100, 108, 113, 120, and 126 in the next 5, 6 years. So the Kaprizov today, 16%, 60 million at 17% will drop maybe at 12, Marco, the next 3-4 years. That's what you have to consider about that.
That's why, again, Coach, I keep bringing this up. What the NHL needs to do is, instead of having static salaries, like fixed salaries, you just pay the person, you pay the player 13% of the cap. So if the cap goes up, their salary goes up. If the cap goes down, their salary goes down. But then that way you don't have players that are going to, their salaries won't look bad, because the actual number they get paid will fluctuate depending on how much the cap is. And then that way everybody's happy. Like, so, hey, Nick Suzuki, you get paid 12% of whatever the salary cap is. And that can go up and down. And that way you have no issues. It's a fair system. I know players probably want a fixed salary. They want a guarantee. But I think this is the best way to for the NHL to move forward, so that players can still kind of like sign long-term and not feel like they're getting completely, ignored or completely kind of screwed by what they signed the first time.
Yeah, absolutely right about that. We'll welcome a few people, if you don't mind, in our top 2 seconds, if you don't mind. Jeremy, welcome in the house. First time, I believe, here. And then K and K is in the house. KK. Kenneth, from Thailand, with Maurice Robillard. We have about 4 people right now in Thailand. Kenneth is just right here, and about 90 minutes from me. Right there, you have a couple of elephants split between him and me. But otherwise, it's pretty good. We're going to wrap up, if you don't mind, a couple of news here. That's it. We're going to go NHL for the Montreal Canadiens. After that, the Dallas signed Adam Ernie, Pibo, Anas, and Cristoforo to Epidio. And then the Florida Panthers announced that they signed Harper and Tyler Motte to Epidio also. And that the team is going to get it. Montreal signed one. We're going to talk about the Montreal Canadiens. Welcome, everybody. Don't forget, please, to click on the likes, and that would be great if you don't mind to do that. It's time for what, Mr. Nastap? It's time for the Montreal Canadiens. Here we go. We are back. Right. And Marco, you're going to take about a couple of minutes, not big, a lot of minutes, but a couple of things to what the people expect for the upcoming season, the season 6. Every Wednesday night when you're going to be with me, beside, we're going to have special guests like we do tonight when we send our tabs during the season, but a little bit explain what will be the format of your show during the upcoming season, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so we're not doing this yet because there's no games, like us. But when this season actually gets going, and we start getting some statistics and everything else, so we have a couple of segments that we're going to be doing, and again, we're going to have all kinds of guests. So one of the first segments every day when we do Wednesday Habs Hump Day is going to be what I call the Habs Hump Check. So the Hump Check is key kind of like I guess what you could call key performance indicators or key stats that we think are going to predict whether they're actually in a position to make the playoffs. So rather than just looking at wins and losses and everything else, what are some of the key statistics that we can look at that will kind of make sure that they're on track? And some of those statistics that we're going to be looking at is, goals per game, right? So how many goals per game are they scoring? Because we know, I don't know if you tuned in for that episode with Frank, we did the same thing that we did with you last year, which is we're kind of trying to predict how many goals are Montreal going to have to score this year? Like how many goals per game? How many goals against per game? What are their specialty teams going to have to look like? We talked about maybe around 24% on the power play, if they can stay around 80% on the PK. So some of these things, guys. So we're going to be looking every week, and it's going to almost kind of like kind of just checking the health, of the Montreal Canadiens season. Obviously, we're going to be breaking down games. We're going to be talking about players just like you're used to seeing when you come on here. But we're just going to add that extra little layer so that we can, as a community here, we can track it. We can go week to week, and we can. It's almost like we're doctors, right? Like you're checking the patient. Or we're checking for vital signs. Are things going the right direction? So that'll be Habs Hump Check. That'll be a reoccurring thing that we do every week, and it's going to be cool. We have cool speedometers. It's going to look cool. And we're going to be able to have some cool Yeah, it's going to look good. And then the other feature, Coach, we're going to have. Did you have the blueprint thing? Did you want me to cover that right now? Or do you want to wait for that one?
Right there. Yep.
Okay. So the other segment, and you see on the top right, is what we're calling the blueprint breakdown. So obviously we want to have the hump check to see how they're doing. But another big thing we've been talking about is we know that this year is a pivotal year, like we're talking about in Coach's headline, right? Like this year, there's some big decisions, like some analysis that has to be done as they're doing the roster construction. There's still huge questions about the second line center, Kirby Dach, Newhook, Gooley, is he going to stay healthy? What's it looking like for Xhekaj and Struble? Like, so there's still a lot of decisions to be, like, Montreal's just getting at that phase. Their objective is to be a perennial Stanley Cup contender every year. So we have this segment, it's called the Blueprint Breakdown. And we're almost going to look at it like the stock market. So we're going to have, let's say, for example, Kirby Dach. Is his stock rising or is his stock going down? Is he part of the core or not? Same thing with Xhekaj, Gooley. Like, so we're going to look at all the core pieces, whether they're on the roster. Coach is going to bring us, prospect updates to see, is their stock rising? Are they going to be part of Montreal's core? Are they part of the blueprint? So that's another recurring segment. Every week we're going to be looking at the blueprint. How is Kent Hughes? How is Martin Saint-Louis? And how are they building out this roster construction phase? So these are going to be some really cool things to monitor, Coach. So we're going to be looking at every game. Obviously, Coach does all the play-by-play. We're going to be breaking down the games. We're going to be breaking down all kinds of stuff. But at a level above that, we're going to keep our eye on the blueprint. We're going to keep our eye.
Super Chat.
All right, continue, Marco, and then we're going to do that right away.
That was great. No, that was perfect timing, Coach. That was all done. So just letting you guys know, these are some of the segments that we're going to be covering every Wednesday. But I think, Coach, we haven't seen EnterTap do a dance in a while.
But I have to fix
I'm
because
ready.
we're going to go to the super chat to go to that one, but we don't have the mic. We don't have the camera right there. So okay. Let's go right here. We're going to do a special here. So Moscow can wait tomorrow night. Let's make deal. Here we go.
Oh my God!
And we have the first goal of the night. Scored by Mr. Guy. Got a great goal on that one. Thanks so much, Mr. Guy. And then I'm going to get an assist in our tap. He was on the ice on that one. And I'm going to get an assist to Marco. Both of them play with Mr. Luciano Iran. What a great power play we got on that one. So congratulations, Mr. Guy. And thanks again for your super chat. And Mr. Space Cowboy, he is in the house tonight. Welcome back from Barrie, Ontario. Mr. Space, Dan, and Colette all in the house. 007, welcome also. Luc Larson, and after his new mascot. Look, he's busy, Mr. Tap. He left a couple of jobs part-time right now to focus on his family, but he's going to get there. He's still looking for his Santa Claus gig for the December, Mr. Luc. So don't worry about that. He's going to work at a couple of shopping centers. By the way, Luciano, he met Mr. Nartap last year at the Center Mall downtown in Toronto. Oh, nice. He was going to work. He was the Santa Claus was on the back of his bag, on the back of his back. So anyhow, let's move on about this. Going to talk about the rookie camp, if you don't mind, right away, and then we're going to get a couple of things about the Montreal Canadiens. Of course, the big subject will be Sidney Crosby. So it was day number one. It was the entrance. Like, when you start to see, like you start the school, Mr. Up as a teacher, the first day is really important for all the teachers, but of course is for the kids. Maybe not for the, in French we said la maternelle, but otherwise, I'm not sure everybody is excited to go back at school, but it was the first day. I think everybody was excited. And with the Montreal Canadiens, we have a couple of players, not a players, but Pascal Vincent talk about 40 minutes after the practice today. And I just going to give you a little bit of information right there. it was the testing day for everybody. And maybe, Marco, if you don't mind, to get maybe a couple of headlines about Pascal Vincent, what he talked about, if you don't mind, that'd be great. And we'll go from there.
Yeah, I caught most of his press conference. I didn't get all of it because I was working. I have a day job. I wish I was like Coach, but yeah, it was interesting to hear him. Like great questions. Like I think probably for me the most interesting one was about Philip Machar. Some interesting questions about him. Some conversation about kind of where he's at with his development. He talked about how at the beginning of the season, him, Davidson, and Beck were probably the Laval Rockets' best line until Machar got injured. So interesting. That'll be an interesting one to see. But some good comments from Pascal Vincent about Machar. Really interesting about Florian Xhekaj. He's been very vocal about his evolution last season, even at some point comparing him to Lowry from the Winnipeg Jets. Man, what a development that would be if he would turn out to be similar player to Lowry from the Winnipeg Jets. But no, it was good. Like I think it was really interesting to hear Pascal Vincent talk about how important it was last year for them and how much he enjoyed the experience last year. And I think he really is excited about the group of players that he has. For Laval. So yeah, it was a good press conference, and I didn't catch all of it, but I got most of it. And I think he's excited to and I like the way that Montreal does this, right? Like they give Pascal Vincent really full reign to kind of run with this, give him some little time in the spotlight with the media, the full Montreal Canadiens media, and they give him the opportunity to run the training camp. So I think it's really good. And in terms of what we saw, like we didn't get too much video. We did get some video. We saw Kapanen destroy the workout bike. Maybe not as much as we saw that year with Slafkovsky. Like, remember Slafkovsky absolutely tore that to pieces, but maybe not to that level. But we saw Reinbacher kind of come up behind Kapanen and have fun as he was kind of doing the bike. We saw some players, doing their exercises. So everybody looks excited. Everybody looks fit. I'm glad I didn't have to do those exercises today. I was just sitting on my desk doing my thing. Entertap, did you do a little workout in honor of testing day?
I know it was just pushing the player. He was just screaming to them. That's it. He does not move anymore. And he just pushed to them. He motivates them to push harder.
There you go.
Yeah, but the motivation stops, right? Like I like your headliner today, Marco, about Marty St. Louis and the speech that he gave.
Yeah,
and then it's all about the the dedication and the determination that you want to put into it, and who comes up with that ball that's being bounced around.
Amazing.
And every day you gotta challenge yourself, and that's the key thing. And I like Vincent's talk today to the media when he was saying, like obviously we're gonna have a good team, Montreal, with the rookie camps, but he was realistic also to say that they'll have their challenges going up against the Leafs, the Jets, and the Senators. So they'll be very good games, and you're gonna see who's going after that loose ball, as Marty St. Louis said. Like who wants this? And there's some players, like maybe it's in our segment tonight, I'm not sure, but there's some players that we can discuss that even though we feel there might not be room right now, if they put in an interesting and very impressive camp, they could find themselves on the inside rather than on the outside.
You're right. Look, this is a very interesting first day for the Montreal Canadiens rookie. You talk about a lot about one speaks to that, and we talked about him yesterday. Pascal Vincent talked about Adam Engstrom yesterday, today.
Okay.
And I mentioned this yesterday. I believe for me, Adam Engstrom is going to be an excellent defenseman. Some people laugh at me when I said is going to be like a Brett Kulak in the NHL. And I would not be surprised he could become a fourth string in NHL. Now people say, well, come on. We don't know the ceiling about him, but if you look about all the development prospect, if you follow all of them last year, of course, Demidov was number one. But if you look about the NCAA and the player play in European area, and then the player here, for me in Laval, you have two players was very impressive. Three players for me. It was Engstrom, Davidson, and of course Davidson. Now you have other players like Farrell of the second part of the season. But for me, there was the three players there. And I think Engstrom was the best one for me overall. And I think Xhekaj was just more surprised the way he did it. But I think Adam Engstrom is going to be, it's not with Montreal Canadiens, it's going to be with somewhere else. It's going to be maybe a package deal at some point. It's going to be a value for other teams going looking for get a prospect for Montreal, get a second center example. But this is an excellent defenseman, and that's what Pascal Vincent said today during the media. One of the players he talked about is he was about Adam Engstrom, and I think this is good for the Montreal. We talk about roster construction, Marco, earlier, where you accumulate assets, and then after you asset, you trade them, and you make something to turn around and to get those, fill up those holes. So Adam Engstrom is going to be maybe a good value at some point to get trade. It's not 1-1, but you have to put maybe a package deal when you get a one players it's fun time for the Montreal Canadiens. Talking about the prospect, Zarovsky. Play basketball, and he turned around not be good for him, and he's going to miss a couple of games at the beginning of the season. He got hurt during a match of the basketball in Russia, and that's the reason he's not start the season for the upcoming season with a KHL.
Just while we're on Zarovsky, Coach, though, just going back to the documentary that Montreal released, that was another really fascinating part where when they were kind of looking into him and deciding they really were going to trade up for him in the second round. How interesting is it that Kent Hughes is, giving Ivan Demidov a call to get some feedback about him? It's a couple times that we've seen that, right? Like I think we saw something where he was talking to Suzuki about trading for Laine. So it's really cool how Kent Hughes, kind of doesn't hesitate to kind of get feedback from his players. And why not? Like any edge that you can get,
communication,
when evaluating players, you take it, right? So it was really, but it's just, man, how much? And here's a question for you, Tap and Coach. How much would you pay per month to get full access to the Montreal dressing room and to the boardroom and be a fly on the wall and see all these conversations? How much would you pay per month, Tap, to have a subscription? To be,
I don't have a number, but you're definitely right. It would be exciting to know what goes on behind closed doors. Like a lot of times we're led to just speculation, but it's based on a lot of times some of the things that we're seeing. So it's indicating a pattern that they're getting themselves into. And yeah, it's definitely interesting, those documentaries, at least what we see there. But I bet you any money it's a lot more juicy once you know the inside.
For sure. Like, this is still very staged, and obviously, like, this is a sanitized version of what happens, right? But I think that's probably true. He probably did call Ivan Demidov to get his feedback on Zarovsky, and so I think that's great.
The interesting thing, Marco, is and you can tell that they're good leaders because they entrust the people that they're employing and the players that they've acquired, right? Like we saw it last year, trade deadline time, when they went back to Suzuki, and there were conversations going on there. Even at the beginning of the year when Laine came over, they did their probing, they did their homework, and they obviously want to ensure that in either acquiring a player or trading somebody, that it's not going to leave a sour taste. I mean, at the end of the day, they're going to make the decisions because that's what they're getting paid for. But when you can entrust people around you, it just gives them that sense of ownership as well.
And it's interesting to hear the questions that Kent Hughes asked Demidov, right? He's like, how is he in the gym? Is he in the gym every day? Is he no problems? Like, is he competitive? Like, So you can see the kind of profile that they're trying to bring. And, like they've said, like going back to when they drafted Slavkovsky over Shane Wright, they had like a certain personality, like, and Jeff Gordon talked about this all the time. They realize that it takes a certain type of character and a certain type of personality to survive in the media market and the pressure cooker, which is Montreal, right? So it's like, you guys know I work in like talent acquisition, right? So it's hiring. We get referrals all the time. The reason that we like referrals when we're hiring people is because we trust the people that already work for us to understand what it takes to work for us. So who better to make a recommendation of who should we hire than the people that you already know fit within your organization, right? So I think it's a brilliant move by Kent Hughes. It's awesome to see the types of personalities and character that they want to bring into the organization.
Well said about that. The Montreal gave a PDO to Kevin Mantelese, a goaltender. This more about in case could happen in Laval. I think he's going to be in the East Coast Hockey League more, and he have an injury to Kakkonen, or he cannot go through the waiver. But they have at least this players in case something happens. So I think he's going to go more for the Lions and Trois-Rivières. So that's what we got a little bit what's going on at the rookie camp for the Montreal. He's going to return tomorrow morning. There will be the first practice on the ice tomorrow. We're going to give you all the update tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. You can join me live talking about the Montreal Canadiens. Thanks for all the likes. Don't forget, guys, to click on the don't forget to subscribe and join us on the member of the Hockey Nation and the Patreon. We talk about something here, Marco, if you don't mind. We're going to talk about the big subject happening, and a couple of N26 gave us some statement about Sidney Crosby. Trade or not, the cost about that, is it a good thing or not a good thing? So I would like to hear both of you if you agree or not about that situation. And honestly, he just want to get out of the car wash in Vegas to go back home very soon. Not to hear but he's going to hear that all year long, I believe, those kind of conversation. But let's go with Marco, and then Inata can join us.
Yeah. So listen, Pierre LeBrun, bless his heart, started this whole thing again. It had been pretty quiet on the Sidney Crosby to Montreal front, but hey, like nothing happens by accident, coach. Like these are smart guys, right? Like there's no way that Pat Brisson and Crosby, they could have answered that very differently and ended that question very quickly, right? But very interesting response, especially by Pat Brisson, saying, listen, like we think Sid should be in the playoffs every year. And for sure, it's a possibility. We're going to have to look at how the Penguins do. We're going to have to see where Sid is. And, we'll have to look at those options. And then Sidney Crosby, he could have answered differently. Like it's again, like the way that he kind of put it was, listen, it's understandable that there's this kind of chatter, because, I grew up a Montreal fan, because, I'm from the Maritimes and it's a little bit closer to Quebec, and, don't forget at Four Nations, the ovation that Crosby got, he had a statement after that about how magical that was for him. And I think us as watching Sidney Crosby get those ovations, and you could see how emotional he was and how like that does make an impression. He did say that he would remember that for the rest of his career. Right. So listen, like, I don't know if this is going to happen, guys, but it's one of those things that just won't go away. Like I think most people agree that if Sidney Crosby does decide that he wants to move on from Pittsburgh, there's no question that at least Montreal is going to be in the mix. I don't think maybe it's the first destination, but I think again it depends how Montreal is going to do. Like if Montreal struggles out of the gate here and is still maybe a wild card team, maybe he has second thoughts, because again, this guy's 38 years old. Like he doesn't have that much time. So I think they'll be in the mix. Now, what would it cost Montreal to do that? We saw TSN with some rage clickbait, where they're suggesting that you trade one for one Demidov for Crosby. That would be absolutely crazy. I think, Coach, we've talked about it recently that fans might have to get used to the idea of trading an asset they love for that second line center. Now, maybe. So would I be open to trading Slafkovsky or Demidov for a center? Yes. For a 38-year-old center, even if he's a Hall of Famer, potentially top 5 of all time player, can't do it. You can't do it for a guy that's only going to be there for 2 years. That would be total malpractice. I would be absolutely shocked that Kent Hughes would even consider that for a minute. So listen, I don't want to say it's not crazy. Like, I understand the idea that as fans, we might have a very bitter pill to swallow when we understand the cost of what it's going to cost to get a center that's going to really kind of be part of that core. But this equation does not make sense. Like a Demidov for Sidney Crosby. So you were talking about a coach, like what would Pittsburgh want? Pittsburgh is going to want a top tier roster player to be able to come in. They've already made some mistakes with some of the trades. Like, look at what they got for Gensel. They got nothing. Like, they walked away from that and they have practically nothing. So you can't afford to make a mistake there. So it's going to cost you a very good roster player and probably a first round pick to get Sidney Crosby, even as a 30 or 38-year-old. And I don't know if Hughes is going to be willing to pay it. Coach, like, so Entertap, if you're Kyle Dubas, what are you eyeing off the Montreal asset list to pry away Sidney Crosby?
Well, he's going to look at a number of things. He's obviously going to want the moon, but I think that I agree with you that you have to be realistic about the situation at 38 years of age. I know he's got a 2-year contract still at what 8.7, if I'm not mistaken, and that wasn't an accident. I think that when he made that contract, it was made purposely to be a cap friendly one and one easy to trade in the event that he being Crosby ever wanted to move, right? And I think that that's what all of this hinges on is, what does Crosby want? He's the kind of guy that obviously I've always believed he'll stay with Pittsburgh and sort of finish his dynasty there. But he might also be of the mind like, how can I help Pittsburgh and bring some assets, and at the same time, with my competitive fire and flame that I still have, help a team that's on the uprise and possibly has a shot at winning the cup. So again, everything is in his hands, in his corner, and I think he's going to sort of play out a good chunk of the season to figure out where Pittsburgh is moving. But I don't see it being a solution for Montreal down the road, right? I think it's a sort of a fill gap, a stopgap until Hage is ready as their two C. And that's fine because it would be great to have somebody like Crosby, given his
For sure.
experience. He
Absolutely.
can groom a lot of the like. Think of what he can do to make Suzuki even that much better of a center in
It's
this
kind of like
league.
Weber, right?
So
Like kind of like Weber, the
yeah,
like the legacy that Weber left in that locker room, right?
absolutely, absolutely. And I'm not overly worried about the age because he's 38, but just like Ovechkin, he keeps in shape like you wouldn't believe, and
I get it.
he's really playing like a 32-year-old rather than a 38-year-old.
Yeah, but
So
I start to
it's
break down, right? Like,
but
yeah,
yeah, father time always catches up, right? That's the
it's
problem.
undefeated. Time is undefeated, unfortunately. So yeah,
Yeah,
like listen, like nobody's debating whether like Sidney Crosby, like geez, like you pretty much do what you can to trade Sidney Crosby. I saw some people asking like,
the
would
price.
you trade Demidov for for McTavish? Like I don't think I think I guess a good question, guys, is who's untouchable? Who's untouchable for the Montreal Canadiens? I think the
That's a
list
whole
is not
conversation.
that big. I to me like my let's maybe go around here. So for me, the only untouchable players for Montreal are Nick Suzuki, Demidov, and Hudson. Those are the only three. And like maybe Reinbacher and Fowler just because of their importance in terms of positional, their positions that they're going to play. But like, is Slavkovsky untouchable? Like, is Caulfield? We love him. Like, yeah, don't shit on me. I like. I'm not saying that they have to trade, like, or they should trade Caulfield, but is he untouchable? You know, like, if it means that you can get a new like a center, like Hage, like Hage is not untouchable. Like I think that, like, we all kind of like understand that it's a heartwarming story, you know, how he got drafted and everything. But I don't know, guys, like Coach Entertap, what's your list of untouchable players in the Montreal system right now?
Not that. Other Luciano?
It's hard to say. Yeah, it's really hard to say. I mean, I like the core group that they've established right now. I would throw Slavkovsky in that mix because I think he's nowhere near the ceiling that he could possibly reach. So
But
that's
Slav is
something
untouchable. You have Slav as
yeah, but
untouchable.
I would even go as far as to say if the price is right and the return is right, I think anybody can be touchable and
Well, of course.
traded. But uh, you know, the realistic question is, do you believe that this management core will move certain players? And I think that there's a key core, as you said, and those names do come out: Suzuki and Hudson, of course. Demidov too. Let's wait and see him play first, and I'm sure he'll be a great player. But like we're also right now shooting for the stars, and hopefully we don't have to settle for the dust after, because I think he will be a great player. But you know, it's hard to for me. It's hard to answer that question because it depends what you're getting back in return, and does it fit the
So
model that
so
you're
let me
trying to move.
reframe the question, right? So if you're
Okay.
trading, let's say it's McTavish, okay? So like the
Okay.
ideal second line center that's going to fit perfectly, is in the right age bracket, all that. So let's say it's the we know Mason McTavish is like, the prototype perfect second line center that would work, right? So
Yeah.
who in the system, either on the roster or assets, are you not willing to include in a trade for McTavish, and alternatively for Crosby?
Uh, Michael Edge
Yeah.
and David Rebecca, for me, they went out to trade for McDavis. Um, and then you're going to get Suzuki, and then you have Demidov and Lane Hudson. They are my four. Honestly, for me, it's Demidov, Hudson, and um, Suzuki. They are the three players are really untouchable right
Yeah,
now.
me
After
too.
that,
I'm
it's
with you.
always about who do you trade, and there's not going to create a hole and you line up.
Yeah,
Example, like you're going to be funny, but if you trade Montembeau, Montreal will be in trouble right now. That's what I'm
yeah.
talking about. If you trade David Rebecca, who is going to be pick up his spot right there? I don't think it's going to happen. The reason I don't trade Michael Edge right now is because you don't have they don't have enough after that. They are uncertain about that. The only thing, and they have some kind of relationship with Michael Edge. I believe they have some kind of connection. I cannot express too much about this, but I think that's what they don't want to trade him. But to back all the people in the chat for Crosby right now, I see all the people right there. I'm going to advise, well, I'm going to give you my own opinion. You're going to not like it, it's okay. Don't expect too much the cost for Sidney Crosby, guys. Everybody
I
right
would
now
agree.
gave like that player, that player, that player. Don't expect that. The guy is 39 years old. He's going to be 39 years old. He's going to have one more year in front of him. Whatever you get him, the last 4 seasons, he get 90 points. We understand what he is. But the value about him, example, I'll give you an example. Do you trade, what's the best value right now? St. Crosby or Kaprizov? Kaprizov will have a bigger value because he's younger, he's going to get there. Now you're going to say that. Come on, coach. I know we're not going to trade only one player for Crosby, but don't expect the value in return is going to be high
Oh,
like other because it's Crosby because
yeah,
of his age. For me,
yeah.
the cost for the Montreal Canadiens to get Crosby, right, is going to be honestly, and that's all. If Montreal Canadiens is on the playoff, I can trade my first round pick, but they are not at least at the bottom, at the first 18 pick. I'll be really concerned about my first round pick. I will not trade my 26, 27 just to make Crosby, because you're going to get Crosby, guys, not tomorrow, maybe not at the trade deadline. You're going to get Crosby only next summer. So going to have one more year of his contract. He's going to be at 39 to 40 years old. You have to remember that he's not going to be better and better and better. He's going to get regression. Whatever he brings on the table, do I would love to have Crosby, yes, but I will not pay too much. And then I will offer him Kirby Dak or Alex Newhook, and that's it. If they want Strobel or a player like Joshua Webb or something, a prospect at the second level, a B level prospect, that's it. But I will not give my first round pick right away just without would not know what it will be my first round pick because of Crosby. I would pass.
Well, then you're not getting
late to finish my point, Marco and everybody. I would prefer to keep my asset to get a second center to fill a spot a long term and not a short term. That's what is fun for me. I don't pay him too much. If he fit on what I believe is worth it, yes. If not, I pass and I turn around. I'm wait to be patient to see what we get offered on the next season and the next year, what we can get a second center in return. That's what I believe it would be my prediction or my projection for the Ken Hughes. I could be wrong here, but I will not pay guys the moon for St. Crosby. Not where easy today. Whatever he's 90 point, whatever it is, he's not going to be there for Montreal for the next 4 or 5 years. And Montreal Canadiens, in my opinion, they don't have enough the roster to win the Stanley Cup, Marco. They don't have enough to go all the way to the end. Whatever you have St. Crosby, and for me, this is the reason I don't believe on that. I don't believe. So I would love to have him, yes, but I don't believe it will fit with the Montreal Canadiens. At least you have to pay the right price to get him. Now is your turn.
You asked so you framed the question differently, right? So the question wasn't should they get Crosby, it's what will it cost, right? So we can agree. Like I think ultimately we all would much rather, like if you had to choose between, are you going to blow your wad on all your assets to get like a center? It's much better for them to get somebody like McTavish, like that ideal
a young age.
guy that fits.
Yeah. The bracket
all
of
agree.
ages.
Yeah, so absolutely. I think we all agree if you had to choose between those two options, most people would say go with that one, right? But let's say that's not on the table. It's pretty hard to say no to the tantalizing possibility. Even and coach, like I think most people are thinking that if the Pens are out, it's not going to be in the summer that they'll deal Crosby. Maybe they'll deal him at the deadline. So you're not just getting his last year, you're getting maybe a little bit before the deadline with Crosby, right? So I don't agree. Some people were saying in the chat here, Pierre Maguire saying like Reinbacher plus Hage plus a first. Like, I'm with you, coach. Like Crosby, like Dubas has to get something back, but Crosby is really the one in control here. Like he's the one that's gonna call his shot about where he wants to go. He's earned that respect, right? So again, I think Montreal would be in the mix along with Colorado. Those are probably the two top teams you would imagine based on what we've heard that he would want to go to. So to me, you know, I think they're going to want a roster player back or somebody very close to being a roster player. Like, would you guys do this? Would you do Beck, Engstrom, and a first round pick for Sidney Crosby for the end of this year for trade deadline and for one more year of Sidney Crosby? Would you do that?
No.
But that's probably what it would cost. I think that's probably what it would cost.
Well, now I would share for that, Marco, Kapanen for Beck.
Sure. Okay.
In my opinion.
Kapanen, Engstrom.
I would suggest to send Strobel over.
That would be the Canadiens' preference. But again, think about what like Pittsburgh is in this conversation too, right? So if you're Pittsburgh, do you prefer Engstrom versus Struble? Probably, right? I guess more upside.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, ultimately, it's going to be up to Crosby, right? I mean, I know Colorado's a contender, but the problem is Montreal has more flexibility in terms of what they can offer in terms of a package. I think Colorado has more issues with the cap and players that are signed a little bit more long term. That it's going to be difficult for them to maneuver and get somebody like Crosby. But if Crosby says, "Yeah, I'm willing to go to one or two teams in particular," then it really handcuffs Dubas, right? Eh, they'll trade him, and I think what he's going to try to go for, as much as it's going to be picks and some prospects. And I agree with Coach. I don't think you have to pay a king's ransom to get that. But I mean, we'll see. I think it's more just smoke right now, and I think he remains in Pittsburgh. But sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire too, right?
I think Barry is
Exactly.
right there in the chat. Said, forget Sid. Overpaying for someone who cannot get you where you want to be. Um, I think he's right about that. I
I
think
don't
that's what
know.
you have to be careful. I don't think. Wow.
Super chat.
Wow. Eric Doucette knocked the goal of that one. A great goal about that one. Good to go this way.
Oh my God!
Thank you. Eric Doucette scored a goal, had the second goal of the game for the Hockey Nation. Thanks so much for that one. We appreciate a lot. I'm going to give an assist to Luc Labartine tonight, and I'm going to get an assist to Mr. N26 with all the comment he did about Sidney Crosby. You deserve this. His fingers should be tired right now. It's like he don't stop all night about Sidney Crosby. I like it, by the way. Thanks again. To meet you guys. Nice to meet you when you hear of the Habs season. You will be excited to see the young players. Thanks, Eric. Welcome back in the family. Glad to see you, my friend. And thanks for the support of the Hockey Nation live show. Consists everybody to talk about everything. Crosby is only playing now to go to the Olympic one more time. Garrett is in the house tonight. Welcome in the house for the family, by the way. Top corner shot by Eric. Yes, look, after a great pass by yourself. So that's what, I don't know if you want to add something about more things to talk about. If you don't mind, that'd be great. And we're going to talk more about St. Crosby all year long. I can't wait when he's going to be when he's going to visit Montreal. I think it's early in the season, if I can recall it.
This is not the
Boston.
last time we'll talk about it for sure. Yeah, we'll
No, not
continue.
at all.
So let's move on. That one, I did some things during the week. I don't know if you follow me, but I did something. I asked a question about the Montreal Canadiens last season, the player, this. So I'm going to go into this that way, that people in the chat, you can consider to answer that. Following that, we're going to go to the Clash for Close the show. And welcome back, Mr. Artap. You guys usually don't know. You never see Mr. Artap. He's the one at the bottom. He's not a new one. It's just he take a sideline
He's an
time.
old one.
We put him on the long-term injury reserve. And now he's back with us to the season 6. So we are really happy to see you, Mr. Natap. We miss you, by the way. Not only me,
Thank you.
but not only Marco, but all the people in the chat are really pleased to see you, my friend. Here we go.
Likewise.
Which need to be improved the most, Mr. Marco? Power play, PK, the goal differential, or 5-on-5?
I think the two last ones kind of go together, right? So I think the goal differential and the 5-on-5 kind of have a direct impact on each other. So there's no question that's, I think we're all pretty confident that I would be shocked if Montreal doesn't have a top 10 power play in the NHL with all the talent and weapons that they have, like a really good 2 units that they can roll out there. The big question mark is the PK, right? Like we lost some pretty important assets there. We know that face-offs, on the left side is going to be tricky. David Savard blocking shots. So some questions there, but no question, the game is played 5-on-5, and we know that we did an analysis EnterTap. So here's the number that we came up with EnterTap. So one of the key ones that we're looking for, and again, we'll be looking at this with our hump check, every week, but we would like Montreal to be somewhere at least say +5, +7, 5-on-5. in terms of like 5-on-5 goals. That should get them somewhere in the top 15 in the NHL 5-on-5. So if their goal differential can be around +5, +7, 5-on-5, they should be in good shape. And in terms of overall goal differential, we'd like to see them at least +10, and that would make them a really, really strong contender. So for me, Coach, I vote for the goals differential and 5-on-5. Like, to me, those are equally as important.
And out that.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I mean, we always I like to go by what I like to call the 110% rule with number 1 and 2. If you can get those two numbers to total that or exceed it, then you know you're on the right track. And I think last year they were very close to that, if not over it. Now, I know that there's going to be some question marks centered around the PK this year a little bit with the losses that we incurred with Armia and Dvorak as well. But I think they'll find the right combination at some point, and they'll have an effective penalty kill. So I wouldn't rank 1 and 2 up there as much as they're important. I think that they should have that in place. For me, it's the goal differential, number one, because you want to show that your defense has come to that next level, right? We wanted to reduce the number of goals that they allowed, and defense wins at the end, especially in playoff games. That's the key thing. The 5-on-5, it's no coincidence that they went after Dobson as hard as they did. It's not just for the fact that you're getting a right-handed defenseman who is solid, but 5-on-5, he's probably one of the best in the NHL. So I think that's one of their top targets for this year, to improve on that. So I would agree with exactly what you said there, Marco.
Great. The next one, a lot of people in the chat. Thanks so much. Don't forget, guys, to click on the like if you don't mind. It'd be great. The next one, Mr. Marco. Name next year best young players 23 or and under as of today.
Next
For the
year,
Montreal Canadiens, by the way, right? We still with the Montreal Canadiens. All right. It's all about the Montreal Canadiens under 23 years old and under. And as today, I'm going to add one more. It's not part of the Montreal Canadiens roster.
Okay. So wasn't part of the roster last year?
No, today, right now, is not. It was not the roster for the Montreal.
Okay, like so he wasn't part of the roster.
I just want to remove Demidov Hudson on that one.
Okay.
Oh,
okay. I'm gonna say Reinbacher for me. I think I'm hoping he has to be. Reinbacher has to be the next one, because they so much is riding on him. Being part of that top four. So I'm gonna say Reinbacher, because it has to be, Coach. Like he has to pan out. He has to pan out. He's such an important piece. So yeah, for me, it would be Reinbacher. If you're excluding Hudson, Demidov, under 23, I think he's Montreal's best prospect or young player.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. I think a lot is riding on the success and progression and development of Reinbacher. I mean, I would probably throw it's a little bit more different than other players, but I would throw Fowler into the equation as well. I think that they're banking on the fact that he's our next, if you want to put it in quotations, Carey Price. That without jinxing it, knock on wood.
No pressure.
And
no pressure.
No pressure. But I mean, if anybody can take that kind of pressure, it's him. At least so far, he's proven that, and he looks like a winner. So, I mean, I would put him there. I would even go as far to say, and it's going to be his last shot, really, unless he's made part of a deal, and that's Joshua Roy. And we see that this summer he's gone through some intensive workouts, and he's put on more muscle, and if he can somehow have improved this skating a little bit more, I mean, this guy, he could make a big difference with the team. So this is his last shot to try to impress and show that he's a part of this team. Otherwise, you can see him being put into a package like we were saying earlier to get a position of need.
So you would have Roy over Beck, over Michael Hage, over Zorowski in terms of best player under 23?
Not for me.
I missed the question. Sorry.
I was so okay. So you would have so we're talking about which players which would be the best player under 23 if you exclude Hudson and those guys, right? So I think I would have Beck and probably Zorowski and maybe even Engstrom over Roy at this stage. Like that's
in terms of best player, you're right. I was just trying to point out that I think it's Roy's last grasp, right? And I'm not answering the question in terms of who's the best player.
Yeah.
I would agree there's other ones ahead of him like Engstrom and Reinbacher. I think even guys like Florian Xhekaj would rank ahead at this point.
I have to go with David Rebecca for that one. I think it's right now the next one. Let's move on. We don't mind. Who should be the second center for the upcoming season now? If you have a choice right now, like what do you have? Don't give me a player out for the Montreal Canadiens right now and the internal. Who is going to be, or who do you think he should be the second center?
All right, I'm going to cheat
right now,
a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Or you go. You no, please. You go ahead. Be my guest.
No. I was just going to say. I mean, obviously, they're gearing towards to see if Doc can handle it. So that's option number one. But with the fact that he might not be ready at the beginning of the year, the next fit in there would probably be, I would say, Newhook. I don't think it's the proper seat for him. To be totally honest, and I think he would make a better probably winger than he would a center. So they have their hands kind of tied right now, like unless they go out there and make a trade. But since we're just talking about what we have right now, I would put Doc as their primary, but Newhook looks like is probably going to get a shot at that too until we see Doc in play.
Marco, before you answer the question, Marco, if we do that clash, we do quite prediction, everything like that. But I think if I turn that question, is that which center Montreal has right now is going to have the most game at the second center position this year? You know what I mean? Like it's yes, like an Artasa. But if you have a prediction right now, who is going to be the center for the Montreal to be the most game play game as a second center?
I'll answer both because just as I was about to answer, Wesh kind of stole my answer. Because I think the way that it's going to work is I think it's going to be Doc and Coach. We were disagreeing about this, I think, last week, right? But I think for me, I'd love to see Doc, Budzik, and Demidov together, right? And if you saw, Budzik has been practicing. He was told, practice your face-offs this summer. And I don't know if you guys saw those clips, but he was going against Suzuki and he was doing pretty well. I know I don't try not to read in too much, but to me, I see it's kind of like almost like a duo, right? So Budzik can take some face-offs on his side and Doc can take face-offs on his side. So I think by default, excuse me, guys, my throat's a little dry. But if you're looking at who's going to, on paper, be the most, be the guy, I think it's probably Doc that would have the most games this year at center. But I think they're going to be splitting face-offs between him and Budzik. So that would be my prediction.
I just want to correct one thing, Marco, if you don't mind. Like, I don't disagree with the fact, like, at the beginning, I think Lenny will be there. But in the future, whatever happening to Lenny, maybe we're going to have switch on the players on the second line. Which prospect are you the most excited about? Not with the team. Excited, not the best young, right? Excited. And Artap, let's go with you.
Which
you can check on your phone if you don't remember.
No, I remember a lot of the names. Like I'm excited about Hage. Obviously, I think that we saw some positive strides last year, and he seems to have grown an extra inch and put on 10 pounds. So that's a positive. But then guys like I'm excited about guys like Thorpe. I think that he's gonna at some point make a difference on the team. Um, uh, Trying to think of, obviously Fowler. I'm going to keep a close eye on him. Reinbacher, of course. If he doesn't make the team, he's going to have hopefully a very positive experience in Laval, and I think that that's what he needs before he can get here. He might be here unless he really overdoes it and that has a great camp. I don't see him being here at the beginning of the year, but maybe by the towards the trade deadline time and afterwards, he might be on the team, or if there's an injury. So those are just a few guys that I'm thinking at the top of my head. I don't know if I've missed any. I mean, another one I would put in that category is Beck. I mean, we saw some good games out of him last year, and I think this guy would eventually be the perfect 3C on this team. I just like his drive. I like the fact that he can win faceoffs on both sides, left and right. He's got that look. He's got that je ne sais quoi that spells a hockey player. And this guy has hockey smarts, and I think that those things are rare.
Yeah, like there's a lot of prospects to be excited about, and for different reasons, right? Like Enertop, I agree with you went through the list there. I guess yeah, like I'm seeing some people talk about Little John Mooney. That is a
Yeah,
pretty exciting little guy to follow for sure. Zorowski, really electric stuff. But again, like you're right, you named Thorpe, right? I was talking with Gary on our Discord chat today, and he was on my list. Thorpe was a guy like I really liked
yeah,
in
yeah.
the rookie camp last year. He looked really good, and I think a guy like that, you know, we have a lot of skilled guys like Zorowski and Hage, like those are sexy, but we already have so to me, seeing guys like Thorpe, seeing guys like that, seeing like Florian come in, bringing a different dimension that we know Montreal is going to need if they're going to, again, it's about roster construction, guys. It's not about having the 12 best players, the 12 most skilled players in your lineup. It's building each line, and we're having, I'm chatting with Luc back and forth about line composition and stuff like that. It's about creating chemistry
Roles.
on each line, having roles, we know that Montreal, especially with all the backs to back this year, I'm, I have a suspicion that St. Louis is not going to want to play the first line 22 minutes a game. He's going to want to roll four lines with all these back to back games. So having balance in the lineup. So to me, in terms of Fowler is a big one. Ryan, so if I can change the question a bit, not just excited, but which ones are the most important too? Like Fowler, Reinbacher are very critical, but I'm excited for ones that are going to bring a new dimension to the team. And I think guys like Thorpe, Xhekaj bring that different dimension in terms of kind of the roster construction and the overall kind of machine that Kent Hughes is building.
Reinbacher.
Yeah.
I'll tap.
I think Enertap already went.
I
Yeah,
went
yeah,
through,
yeah, yeah.
I went
Yeah.
through mine.
Mr. Stan, I just answered to your question. Popanikis return and the junior next season. I think for me, I'm going to go with Florian Xhekaj. Because if you have one player, and I'm a little bit follow with Marko, have a specific role to fill up, and when Montreal Canadiens, I think it's Florian Xhekaj versus Beck, a Kapanen, and Michael Edge for me. And I think that's the reason I go with him for Florian Xhekaj. How he's going to develop, how he's going to fit. Because if he make the NHL, guys, that's changed a little bit another player we don't have right now in the system. Example, like in the lineup for the Montreal Canadiens, I believe it's going to just add more power forward. Pickford have a lot of work to do. This is you don't like that compare, but this is a type of Justin Barron overall. Really
I
offensive
think
players.
he reminds me of Torrey Krug a little bit.
Yeah,
Pickford.
that's good.
Like
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah,
one about
maybe,
that.
maybe.
Just need to work on his defensive zone coverage. You can see that, but it's going to be another
yeah.
long shot for him to get there
Hey, Coach,
for that one.
before we move off Florian, I'm curious. I want to hear you guys on this one. I think we're all confident that Florian will make the NHL. You know, high end, maybe third line. I think we're all confident that he's looking like he's going to at least be a good fourth line player. Do you guys see him as a center or as a winger? I know that's
Winger.
we always have
Winger.
these debates in Montreal. Yeah, I think
Winger.
so
I
too.
think it's a winger that's flexible. That if he ever needs to be put at the center spot, he can handle that as well. But I agree, winger.
And right now, Marco, he played well last year on the PK, by the way. He have a good year
Very
on
good.
the PK. So I think it's another asset you want to get on your tools box. And I think PK does, not PK, but Florian does this. So we have to see that. We have about 9 minutes to go. I have more questions, but I think I would like to do the clash a little bit quicker, faster to finish at the right time. And for everybody, thanks for all the like we got tonight and all the super chat that we got also. Both of you, I appreciate that, Eric and Guy. So let's go to the clash if you don't mind. And we want to appreciate the Hockey Hot Stove, the new sponsor of the show with the Hockey Nation show. I invite everybody, guys, you can sign with the Hockey Hot Stove. It's free. Subscribe, and you can follow any team. We have a lot of great contributors on that website. It's a new website. Nobody talk about this too much, but it's built by the Chris Terrien, the ex-NHL player. We have a lot of great contributors. Join Marco also. And I'll tap about the people follow the team, like Ty Anderson, example, the Boston Bruins now is a part of this. And many others. So I just want to share this one. First one, we talk about him all night, so we're not to finish the show with this guy. Sidney Crosby get 90+ point next season. He did the last 4 years, by the way. That's really impressive when you think about this.
Go ahead, Undertop.
Do you want to start? Okay.
No,
Well, if you look at the last 3 years, number one, he's remained healthy for the most part, so that's key. And all 3 years, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's got over 90 points all 3 of his last few years. I mean, this guy's got the drive. The only thing I worry about is not so much Crosby, but how bad will Pittsburgh be? Right? Are the same opportunities that he had when the team was decent and was a playoff contention team going to exist now that they're not going to probably make the playoffs? So I'm going to go with slightly under. So not at all.
Can I? Yeah, this is a tough one. So if he stays in Pittsburgh, I'll say not at all. Because of everything
that's a stipulation.
I'm trying to kind of have it both ways, right? But yeah, I'm with you. Not at all if he stays with Pittsburgh, but if he gets traded to like Colorado or Montreal, then maybe it infuses a little bit of dynamism to his game. So I'm gonna go. I know I'll go with not at all, like Entertop, because we don't know if he's gonna get traded. So I'm gonna say not at all.
I go with absolutely for me. I think Crosby continues to go, and because he's going to motivate for the 4 nation, I think that's what I go with that for him. Next one, we're going to go with Gallagher, more goal over Anderson. Marco.
I'm going to say absolutely. Like, I think Anderson is probably going to play more minutes. But Coach, do you have our sound effect queued up for Anderson? What's the sound effect we use for Josh Anderson?
We have this at some point. I don't know exactly where he's here, but
who's going to hit the glass more?
Yeah. So as Coach finds that, like, I think Anderson is going to play a more important role on the team. I think he's going to play more minutes. But as we know, he just does not have the finish. So yeah, like I still think Gally. I think on our prediction show, Coach, I think we have them each around under 15 goals, like maybe 12 to 15 goals. So I'm going to say absolutely Gally Galley with more goals than Anderson. Yeah.
And after that,
Absolutely. I think even this summer, Gallagher has really put in a lot of hard work, and we saw last year. Apparently, he's skating better than he was last year, and if that's the case, I mean, that was the biggest knock on him, right? Is the fact that at some points he couldn't stay on the ice very long, and he couldn't keep up with the game, the speed of the game. But if he can do that, I mean, he has a knack of getting in the right places at the right time, and he's such a, I don't want to use the word, but he's a disturber in front of the net. Let's put it that way. And he's great with deflections and getting those loose pucks in front of the net. So I think he'll. I'll go absolutely for sure.
I love the comment from A2.
Marco,
I love the comment from A2.
Did you go over or not? Did you get the absolute not?
Yeah, I did absolutely for Galley, but just this comment from A2. Scientists are still studying that season Anderson scored 26 goals.
Archaeologists, maybe.
I'm going to consider what I did at the first. I'm going to get, again, you, both of you. I'm going to go Anderson is going to get there. I think Gallagher now, his father is going to get bothered by the baby, wake up early in the morning, the night, everything. So I think he's going to go that direction. Next one, Vegas won the Pacific in our tap.
Not at all. Not at all. I'm not so bullish with the Vegas, especially with the injuries that they've gotten on some of the injuries on defense and some of the players that they've lost on defense. And that's a critical no-no. Like I think they'll be probably better offensively, adding Marner to the mix. Of course, he's going to make other players around them better, and the power play will be just as effective as it always been, but I just don't see them winning the division. No.
Intertop, like I don't know, man. Like I never love agreeing with you on each one, but like it's trending that way. It's trending that way. So yeah, I think Vegas, they're more of a playoff focused team. Like I don't think they're like that being said, they're over 100 points again last year, right? But yeah, I don't know. I just there's something around them. I think you're right. Like the roster construction there, it's a little bit off. They've lost some depth. Their decor is not looking as strong and mobile as it used to as well. Like so, yeah. I don't know. I would probably wager more still Edmonton. Winning the Pacific more than Vegas at this point.
Yeah, I go with Vegas win to a Pacific for the upcoming season.
Coach is disagreeing with everything we say.
There you go. That's good.
The Dallas first line, more point than the Montreal Canadiens first line. Yesterday we did the Florida Panthers. So I said we're going to stay there. I check around as Winnipeg. I said, oh my God, Winnipeg, no. I think there will be not. But Dallas Star.
So let's establish so it's going to be Hintz. Let's just say it Hintz, Rantanen, and Robertson. I guess like those arguably would be their first line. Yeah. So yeah, like I'd say so. I think they're going to have more points than Montreal's first line. Absolutely.
And after that,
yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that too. I think Rantanen's really sort of established himself there. We saw that in the playoffs. I think he's going to have a great year, especially when you have Hintz on that line if he could stay healthy. And you know that Robertson has a knack for finding goals and heading to the net, even though his skating's not the best. But I agree with you. I would say their first line will probably exceed ours.
Hey guys, whenever we talk about Rope Hintz, we got to give a shout out to Kelly. You guys remember? Was it Kelly? She talked about Rope Hintz like every 2 minutes.
I remember
when I first. Yeah.
Yep.
Rope Hintz.
Last one, I think about Marco on that one. I did for you, Marco. Sakoven marked 54.5 points for the upcoming season.
How do you
did he have last year?
I saw this on your show with JB yesterday, Coach. How do people get 0.5 points? Almost all of your predictions.
It's the Vegas line. It's the Vegas line, Marco.
Okay.
so that you don't get an exact, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't gamble, so I don't know this. So I didn't know you get half a point in the NHL, but so yeah, like Stankoven for me definitely could be. So the question here is it over under on 54 points?
Saint-Coven more que 54.5 absolutely on that. So he's going to get 55.55 plus on that.
I'm
Not
going
at
to say
all.
absolutely. I love this kid, and I think he's going to have every opportunity to play maybe with the top, like with Aho. I'm not sure how they're going to shake down on lines, but I think easily he gets that number in Carolina.
Oh boy. Yeah, he's going to probably be with Svechnikov and Aho, I think. Yeah, you know what? I would agree. 54 and a half is very achievable for him. I think he can hit
They got
close to
Ehlers,
60.
right? They added Ehlers this summer
Ehlers,
too, so
that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
No, he's not going to be there. And the reason is going to play on the third line. I think they have
wow.
Nicola Heller now. They're going to use more Taylor Hall on the top six for me. And
Wow.
Oh, really?
I think the reason
Jeez.
behind that because he's small, and I think he will hide him a little bit more. That said, he's not going to be on the power play number one, and that's another reason. It will be close. Last year, I'm only 29 points, by the way. Last season at 59 game or something like that. So,
I
like I
had him in the
said,
pool. Yeah, I know. I had him
uh,
in my hockey. Yeah.
he's really a good. He's really a good player, by the way. I like his style. You know what I mean? Like it's another
Yeah.
Benson and those kind of player like that, right? But it's not negative
Carolina
when I
seems
get that. It's just the way I try to figure out my answer when I see them, what they're going to use him, everything. So I think for me, that's the reason behind that. But look, I think they pay the price for that. I think Dallas doesn't want. This is a great example, Marco, and for everybody on that one. So the Dallas Star want to stay in the race with other players, other team in the conference, and to do that, they have to pay the price at some point, and they want to rent it. So this come back to your question, your comments a little bit early,
Yeah.
Marco, about Montreal at some point, and I said that earlier. Um, Montreal will have to trade a one player. I don't know who, but Florida did it. They trade Huberdeau, and Huberdeau was favorite player a lot, and then that one over there. So
Set a record. Huberdeau just set a record for the most points by like a left winger or something.
And he was very close, guys, with Barkov. It was the three amigos. I see. Well, live in Florida. The three amigos. They live in the same area, follow the day on the beach,
Yeah.
and they travel together. They play. They go everywhere together. And there was Ekblad and Barkov and Huberdeau. If you tell me one day they would one of them would be traded, I would say not at all. I would not see that. But Barry Zito did it, and look what
I
happening.
did.
They won after that 2 Stanley Cups. So nothing against
I
Huberdeau.
did tell you way back, Coach. I did tell you that they were going to trade Huberdeau.
So yeah, Mr. Nartap Huberdeau. The same way
I
like
just
we
thought it
did
would be
Mike
Montreal,
Hoffman
but
with the Montreal Canadiens for that one over there. By the way, I just realized today I look about who left the Montreal Canadiens, and one player we never talk about this is nothing again that. But we lost, RHP lost, and Alex Barry-Boulet left the Montreal Canadiens organization. But anyway, I just want to mention this because I see RHP. What? Yeah, we never talk about RHP. That's conclude the show tonight. But before we leave, Marco, I want you to talk about, of course, Mr. Nartap back in the house tonight. What a great night. What to see you, Mr. Nartap. It's been waiting for me to see you back around. It's not the same when you're around the channel, honestly, on the chat or beside me. And I can wait to see you again next Sunday. But I want to be sure everybody to appreciate Mr. Nartap again to be with the Hockey Nation. So, Marco, let you the last word of the show tonight.
No, what a great night. What a awesome, like I said, everything is coming together, Coach. Like, rookie camp is starting. I'm positive again, excited. Martin Saint-Louis pumped me right up, Braveheart style. And then to the cherry on top, we have Mr. Entertap, the GOAT, the original, joining us. So So much fun to
Thank
have
you.
you back, sir. And you can see
Great
everybody
to
in the
be back.
chat. Very excited. So hope you can join us on this show. Like I know you're going to have your own show on Sundays with Coach, but welcome anytime. I'd love to have you in the rotation, to join the panel here on Wednesdays with us. So looking forward to a great season, Tap. Welcome back, my friend.
Likewise, my friend. Thank you very much.
Awesome to see both of you together tonight. I can't wait to see you next week, Marco, with another great show. And then we'll go to starting to put the break. Is it a breakdown? Is it breakdown?
Yeah, we'll start kind of, again, the new concepts are mostly going to work when games start happening. And we have statistics. Right. Yeah, so we'll kind of slowly start building towards this new format as we go here for sure.
Yes, et tous c'est the three amigos like Huberto, Barca avec Vlad. We have Amico. We have in our tap with Marco and myself. So we have the three amigos here. One of you, I will go to release you. I will finish the show like we do at the end. But I want to say, Marco, thanks so much for everything. You work hard behind the scenes, and I appreciate all the graphic. And then, Mr. Artap, look, it's a blessing to see you around me. And I cannot express more my grateful and thankful to have you around. And this is for all the people in that chat. So thank you, Mr. Nata. Wish you an amazing great night. Marco, it was a pleasure. See you again. I will see you next Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Marco and Artap next Sunday for your first red light. Yeah, red light behind you, Mr. Artap. Have a great night, both of you. Thanks so much. It was Marco Larrabee and Mr. Marco Larrabee and Artap in the house tonight. Glad everybody to see them with us. Barry, thanks again for everybody. And of course, the two super chat tonight, Mr. Guy did it again. Mr. Eric Dussel, glad to see you around and to give us also a super chat. And then we want to thank Moderator Luciano and Ron with Kings. Before I leave, guys, I don't like to talk like this, guys. And I don't want to mention anything bad. And I don't want the people talk about politics, everything like that. But it's sad two people lost their life that way. And I'm talking about Charlie Kirk. Love is like assassinate today. And it's nothing against the situation. My point is family, kids, wife, everything like that. So I just feel sad for that one. It could be anybody else. I don't think whatever you do in life, you should be that way. And I just opened the door that way because I think it's very important. Life is short. You never know what could happen. And I hopefully everything will go happen another time. I can't wait to see Mr. Tap next time. Thanks, everybody. GF. Good night, everybody. Don't forget, guys, to click on the likes. And the only reason we are back every night is because you are awesome. You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you. Exactly, you have greatness inside of you. Be well, be healthy. Find a way not only dominate your day, but find a way to dominate the second half of what? Someone said 2025. Until the next time, my friend, the Hockey Nation, the Hab Nation, and all the animals in my jungle in Thailand, I want to tell you one more thing, sir. We love you, friends. Have a great night, everybody. See you tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Good night. And booyah, everybody.